Greetings and salutations, friends. Tonight, we are going to continue down an incredibly strange rabbit hole that I discovered in the form of one Sarah Adams. Sarah Adams is an intuitive healer who claims to have a great deal of different abilities. I should mention, for those that don't recall or haven't seen the first episode, there is another episode here on Truth Seekers called The Strange Case of Sarah Adams Part 1. Tonight, we're going to be unpacking a little more about my investigation, and so we're calling it The Strange Case of Sarah Adams Part 2. We thought it would be a good idea. Well, actually, I think that Sarah suggested that I talk to some of the people that work for her. Now, I'm told that she's incredibly busy and that you can't get a healing session with her for months in advance. Today, I talked to her briefly, and she told me that she has 4 different assistants. I mistakenly called tonight's guest. His name is Taj, who works for her manager. So just a correction, he's one of her 4 different assistants. So I guess we have him waiting in the green room here. I think we're just going to bring him right on. I have a small list of questions for him because I thought, yeah, maybe he could provide some background into her abilities, what he feels maybe the origins, of her abilities are. Yeah, I just thought it would be good to talk to her, to him, Taj. Forgive me, Taj, because if you look into this girl, Sarah Adams, it seems like this gentleman is with her a lot at conferences. I believe he does her scheduling and things like that. And I thought that he might be able to provide some insight and answer some questions. So let me get him in here. Hi, Taj, right?
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. Can you tell me, I just want to tell everybody, this guy must be very dedicated and a good guy and friend to Sarah Adams, because what country are you in right now?
I'm in the UK.
Okay, so he's in the United Kingdom, but it's like 3 a.m. there right now.
That's right, yeah.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much for doing this. So I thought the first thing I wanted to ask you is, how did you first hear about her?
So I have to go back probably a few years. I should probably give you a bit of background as to myself.
Sure.
So like a few years ago, I was married, and then I got divorced and fell into fell into a depression kind of thing for a while, and I lost my job. I was at home a lot, and I started watching a lot of as you do when you're at home, so alone, watching YouTube videos and things, and started coming across videos on channels like Project Camelot, as you know, and the Basis Project, and those kind of conspiracy type videos, I guess you would say, and started researching things like 9/11, Sandy Hook, all of those type of conspiracies.
You started going down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, I jumped head first into the rabbit hole kind of thing, and I came across a lot of videos on Miles Johnston's channel, the Basis Project.
Yes.
A lot of those were related to like Max Spears, Sarah Adams, James Casbolt, and a few others. And for some reason, that particular topic, which is, I guess you would say, super soldiers, interested me, and I started watching a lot of those videos. That was on top of all the other stuff I was watching at the time, and I sort of got into it there, really. And that was probably around 2013, 2014, and by probably about 2015, I watched all of Max Spears stuff, all of Sarah Adams stuff, all of James Casbolt stuff, and I went to my first conference in 2015, and at that conference was Sarah Adams and Max Spears, and that was around early 2015, I think. I think that video is actually up on YouTube. And I actually do briefly appear in that video because I ask a question, both of Sarah and Max. So at that conference, I actually met Max Spears for a bit, but I never actually got to meet Sarah Adams because it's quite busy and there were a lot of people there. But I spoke to Max probably maybe for about 10 minutes outside while we were having a cigarette during the break. After that, I added Sarah on Facebook and Max, and we communicated for a while. And then probably around early 2016, I started like messaging Sarah a lot more and talking to her because I thought that more people needed to hear what she was saying. So I offered to help because I knew a few people in this area, offered to help her get on some radio shows and that type of thing. And in early 2016, she appeared on a few shows and I had a few lined up, you know, like Coast to Coast and a few others where she was going to appear. But then in July, in fact, it'll be 4 years in a couple of days, July 16th, when Max Spears passed away. A lot of those shows, well, all of those shows were cancelled. And during that time, probably spring, summer, a lot of people don't know I was involved in sort of helping put that conference together, the Bases conference in 2016, where Max and Sarah were both supposed to speak together at that conference. So I was sort of like, I guess you would say, part of Miles Johnson's team. I guess I was his IT guy. He would come to me for help, IT related stuff, because my background is IT support.
Yeah, oh, that's interesting. So is mine. Well, computers in general. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been doing IT.
So you mentioned that you were unemployed and like depressed, right?
Yeah.
When you met her, did she start to work on you with her abilities?
She did. She did a session for me for free in about 2015. I can't remember it was around 2015, and it's hard to explain the effects weren't like immediate. It was like over a few days, I guess. That I wouldn't say I completely fell out of depression because, you know, with one session it's quite difficult. But I think with Sarah, I mean, you've had I don't know how many sessions. I don't know how many sessions you've had with Sarah, but
3 now.
Okay, but it's sort of like an accumulative effect. And the more she works on you, you know, the more sort of you feel it, I guess. And I think over the years, I don't really like ask Sarah to work on me. She's sort of just, I don't know, she knows, like, because we're quite close, she knows if I need work or whatever, she will just do it. And I feel it, you know, even though we might be thousands of miles away. I can't explain the effects or anything in any kind of scientific way or whatever. I don't think that you can measure what Sarah does scientifically, as it were. And I think a lot of the clients that I speak to over the years, I mean, Sarah's probably helped hundreds of people over the years, and I get emails every day from people wanting to work with Sarah, and people who have worked with Sarah who, you know, praise her and her abilities and how they've helped her. You know, people who have had depression, people who have been suicidal, people who have been just sick and not well, and they've had just, you know, even just one session with Sarah that's helped them.
Yeah, I've seen the testimonials that were pretty impressive. You know, here's where I'm at, though. You know, there's a lot of criticism of her in various ways. One of them is that she makes claims like she can upgrade and repair your DNA. You realize that that's not something that can be verified. So if people are critical, it's because, you know, my point is, if she's upgrading and repairing my DNA, during our session, she told me she was working on my DNA. You know, it's not like we looked at my DNA before the session, and then she did make several statements that she was repairing errors or something like this. I don't know how to unpack that, because for my side of things, how do I know that she's doing anything or working on my aura? Do you understand? Do you just think that you got to have faith when you deal with her? And maybe the effect is somewhat like a faith healer. If you believe she's helping you, she will. And I'm saying all this with very much respect. You know, I want to have a respectful conversation and not get, you know, negative.
Yeah, I understand. I think that is part of it. I think I don't know the best way to explain it really, but I guess in a way, if you come to Sarah as a non-believer, as it were, you don't believe what she does, I think it's probably harder for her to work on you. Whereas if you believe, you're more open to it, I guess, is the way I put it. But there have been skeptical people who have come to her for help, and even people that she's met, and they don't know what she does. And I mean, if you met Sarah in person, you would know what I mean. She has an energy about her that's very different to most people. It's very hard to explain unless you've actually met her in person. But as far as her abilities, I mean, I've seen things that are hard to explain, like in a scientific way, I guess. And you could say maybe they're, you know, as a skeptic, you would say maybe they're psychosomatic or they're suggestive sort of things. But
And this is the experience. This is what I have come to. Is that the first session I was initially kind of blown away because I felt she told me I was going to feel physical effects, and I did. But later, you know, I kind of unpacked it, and I had to contain my initial excitement. After that wore off, to me, when I went over what happened in my mind, it felt like the very beginning of the session was a hypnotic induction.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, pay attention to the sound of my voice, concentrate on your breath. You're going to begin to feel more and more relaxed. This is right out of a typical hypnotic induction. And then, so for me, where I've kind of come to is that the first session, if I did feel something, but I think that it was 12:30 at night. I was super tired and maybe more suggestive than I would have been. And I did not catch, it didn't dawn on me what was happening until later. Maybe my skeptical mind kicked in later. That what was happening was hypnotic suggestion. She suggested that I would begin to feel warmth in my chest, and I was relaxed and listening to her, and she kept repeating that I'm going to feel warmth in my chest. Do you feel that? And eventually, yeah, I did feel like I did. So for me, you mentioned like a psychosomatic effect or suggestion. I'm not convinced that this is some kind of supernatural ability other than hypnotic suggestion. But to be honest, I've never encountered, I'm not going to call her a fake psychic. I've never encountered any psychic that used the kind of techniques that she uses. Usually they resort to cold reading. She didn't do that in the first session. It was mostly this hypnotic sort of telling me what I'm going to feel and that she's working on my aura. And I got to say, at first I was completely blown away when I started feeling physical sensations. But later, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I can understand what you're saying, but the number of people I've come across, especially clients, who have had the same kind of thing, like physical effects from having sessions with her, and people who have worked with her for months, they wouldn't work with her for that kind of period of time if the effects were, like you say, like psychosomatic or whatever. So the only way I can, anything I can say about that is, I think having just a few sessions, basing basing everything on that experience. I think maybe if you had more sessions, and maybe if you had, how would I say, physical effects, or if there was anything specific you wanted her to work on, and let's say, for example, like Sarah's helped people with who have had diabetes now no longer have diabetes. But that's like
Wow.
she works not just on one level. She will, like, help you with your diet detox. You have to put in a lot of work yourself. It's not just down to what Sarah does for you, during the sessions. Most of our clients do a lot of work in between sessions as well. So I guess if you're just basing it on the facts of the work that she does in that 1 hour session, I think, yeah, you could explain it away in many different ways.
So are you convinced their abilities are supernatural in nature?
From what I've seen, I don't like using that word supernatural. They are psychic, you could say, yeah. She does have abilities, but I think, like you said in your previous show, you can't label her as a psychic, as a healer, as a, there's a lot of labels you could put on her.
She's got a lot of check boxes.
She doesn't really fit, I
guess. Which leads me to another question, and this is important. There's been a lot of criticism and emails I'm getting, and people are sending me videos. You mentioned this basis project, and there's videos of her a long time ago talking about sort of being part of a Montauk-like project and being injected with that goo, that black goo, it came, that particular video came off almost like a superhero origin story for why she has these abilities. It seems like later she kind of retconned herself and no longer super soldier, now intuitive healer. Do you realize that a lot of people think that affects her credibility now, that years ago she was talking about totally different things and not doing this intuitive healing kind of gig?
I think even back then she was doing healing. It just wasn't in the public so much. I think I think you're talking about her first video, the Black Goo video.
As Rachel too.
Yeah, she was down as Rachel, and I think she didn't want to give her a real name at that time. She didn't want really to be in the public, and that was a sort of video she didn't really, I wouldn't say she was forced into doing it, but she was at the Super Soldier conference, and I guess Miles cornered her and interviewed her, and she wasn't really prepared or anything like that. I know the video you're talking about. Sarah tells me most things, but we don't really talk about her childhood too much. I think that's a subject which she gets quite emotional about, and I don't really bring it up too much with her. I know about where she grew up, and I've met some of her family, and her mother I haven't actually met, but I've talked to her about her experiences as a child, and a lot of it is quite traumatic for her, so we don't really talk too much about it. And it might be, I don't want to say that what happened to her in her childhood has brought out these abilities, or if it's something else, or I'm not sure. But it's a difficult one because I've known Sarah a long time, and I can't explain a lot of the things that I've seen, and I wouldn't say I sort of just take it as normal now. It's like my normal is probably very different, to most people's, because I see a lot of this stuff every day with Sarah, and it's like weird things happen around Sarah, and
I heard that.
I don't know how to explain it, but you can come to your own conclusions about it. But again, like I said, there are a lot of people who would say that her abilities were real, and well, that's that's about all I can say around that, really.
Okay, and since you work for her, I wanted to ask about one of the other controversies, because people are sending me all kinds of stuff, and I realize a lot of people just have haters and are going to criticize things that they do. But one of the things that people are being very critical of her, and I guess her business, is that there is she's selling homeopathic remedies, right? I'm going to put it up on the screen. And this is Sarah Adams' post. We just got a homeopathy remedy made from the coronavirus. They use the virus strain to make it. So this is currently available. If any of you are interested in ordering it, I can get it to you. And she goes on to say, I do believe that homeopathy works as it's helped me to heal on many levels in the past. I offer sessions and packages. I do energy work and healing. My friend is a certified homeopathy practitioner, comes in after I do my work, and she treats via the use of homeopathy. You can learn more about this by emailing my website. So, you know, as I understand it, homeopathic remedies are only legal in certain countries. And correct me if I'm wrong, the country that she's selling this out of is in England, and it's still legal to sell homeopathic remedies there. Is that correct? But what about if they're shipping them to the United States? Is that legal? Is that?
No. So her friend is in the UK, the one who does the homeopathic remedies, and there were no the coronavirus like remedy. There were none sent to the US, and
is that legal to be selling a coronavirus remedy that's homeopathic?
You can sell homeopathic remedies in the UK, yeah.
Even for the coronavirus, right?
Well, this is a difficult one to explain. Sarah sort of jumped the gun with this post, and she sort of corrected herself in a later post. What her friend told her, she sort of misunderstood, and so she did correct that post later. As you know, like homeopathic works with treating like for like. So each person who comes to a homeopathist will get a remedy based on their symptoms. And so if you have coronavirus, you know, your symptoms might be various, you know, for different people. And so homeopathic remedies that were given were based on an individual basis. So they would have to contact a homeopathist, and based on their symptoms, they would be sent a remedy.
To treat the symptoms.
To treat the symptoms, correct, yeah.
Yeah, and we have another screenshot here where you're commenting and saying, please contact me if you're suffering from symptoms of the coronavirus, and I will arrange for the homeopathy remedy to be sent out to you. And you did note that anyone in Europe can receive it, as it is sent from the UK. Other countries, we can't guarantee that you will receive it due to customs restrictions.
That's right, yeah.
So I guess that addresses that sort of complaint that many people have. But I do have an additional question. Is she offering healing sessions for people that have the coronavirus?
No, not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, so she's not making any claims of being able to cure the coronavirus or anything like that, because honestly, that's what some of the people that are very negative towards her are claiming. I wasn't able to find any post of hers where she's, except for these two, which she's mentioning healing sessions in conjunction with the homeopathic remedy that you guys were selling.
No, it was only based on the homeopathic remedy. And I believe probably a couple of months after that, she did actually get a phone call. Well, I got the phone call from the US Postal Service. They wanted to speak to Sarah specifically about that post.
So someone made a report to the U.S. authorities for that.
Yeah, someone reported her to the U.S. authorities, and she called them back. I think there was a U.S. Postal Service person and an FBI agent on the phone call with her, and they asked her a few questions, and they were satisfied, and that was the end of that, really. So, yeah, I guess someone.
I know they are there.
Yeah, well, she said that, you know, the remedies were being sent out from the UK, and none had been sent out to the US. I think we sent them one to Italy and a couple to people in the UK. And that was it, really.
Okay, and so we have a bunch of people in the live chat that have been following this story here of this strange case of Sarah Adams. I just want to mention to the people in the live chat, if you have questions for Taj or me, please put them in all caps, and we'll share them on the screen. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask. I don't want to keep Taj for too long because it's 3 a.m. where he is, and he has graciously agreed to do this. I have to say, one other question that I had for you while we wait for questions from the live chat is, I'm told that she's extremely busy and that she has 4 assistants. Does she really need 4 assistants to do her work? And what do you guys all do? Because I'm kind of fascinated of, like, this super psychic needs 4 people helping her to arrange these sessions and do I don't know, I guess website. You do the YouTube channel for her, right?
I don't know about 4 assistants, but I guess she's talking about people who help her. I mean, we have one person who helps on the website, and we do have a couple other people who help her with bits and pieces. But I guess I'm the one who like manages her website. I manage her social media. I manage her calendar. She needs travel arrangements, things like that. I manage that. I manage pretty much most things really. Yeah, I think 4 assistants. That's not like full time. You're thinking like just 4 people working for her full time.
Okay.
But I mean, I have a daytime job, so I work, like 9 to 5, and most of the stuff I do for Sarah is like in the evenings and the weekends. And there are a few other people who do bits and pieces that help me. Like for example, we're doing the brand new website at the moment, which will be out hopefully later this week or early next week. We'll be working on that for a few months. And then other people will help her as well. And I know there's been a post about that I've seen where people have said that Sarah doesn't do all of her sessions, and that's not true. There was a time where she was going to put packages together with other, like I guess you would say, like tarot readers and things like that, and homeopathists as well, and that she would work with them. But everyone who books a session with Sarah gets a session with Sarah. They don't get a session with somebody else. I just want to make that clear.
Okay, but one criticism that I've heard, and I don't have any evidence to back this up, but this is just a claim that people are making, and now since you mentioned it, would be a good time to address it. Here's what somebody told me. Somebody told me that there is a, let's call them a fake psychic cold reader that writes out scripts for her to give to people, or helps her do research on people that she's going to be reading. And in show business, I did magic shows, mentalism shows. That would be called pre-show work. In other words, if I was doing a mentalism show, I used to do corporate shows. I would find out everything I could about the CEO, little known facts that people wouldn't imagine I would know. Go find his college yearbook, his high school yearbook, things like that. That would be the pre-show work I did. And then I would make statements claiming to be reading his mind about his high school girlfriend that was mentioned in, you know what I mean, in the high school yearbook. It's called pre-show work. So one of the criticisms is that she's got somebody helping her write cold reading sessions and doing pre-show work on some of her clients and subjects. Do you want to talk about that? It's just a claim that I've heard people made. I don't have evidence of this. Nobody's given me that. I haven't talked to the so-called person that's supposed to be helping her myself. But it's a claim that I've gotten a few emails that people are saying that's what she was doing.
No, it's I don't know where you heard that. It's completely untrue. Firstly, Sarah doesn't have time, to do that kind of thing, to go out, watch videos. I mean, she doesn't even watch YouTube and that type of thing. And I don't know anybody who does, research background kind of thing on that type of stuff. So I don't know what to say other than it's, complete rubbish. So I don't know what else to say about that, really.
Yeah. Okay. So you examine controversy, and I asked you before, but you seem to be incredibly dedicated to this girl, and I don't know, that just like it makes me believe that you are like a true believer of her abilities, and you really do want to help her I guess, connect her with more people, right? You've gone out of her way to get her on shows and do her website. I mean, you truly believe that she's helping people.
I do. I mean, over the years, I've seen her help a lot of people. And I would say out of all the thousands of sessions that she's done since I've been helping her, there are a handful of, I could probably count on one hand the number of people who have not been happy. So, you're always going to get that with anything that, you can't satisfy 100% of the people all the time. And for some reason, you only hear about those few people who were upset about their experience, but you don't hear anything about
to people that aren't happy. If somebody's not happy, will she give them their money back?
Yeah, she will. And I have given money back to people. But a lot of this you do hear. It's like anything, you hear all the bad stories, you don't hear any of the good stories. And you know, Sarah's helped hundreds of people, but she doesn't really talk about any of that. She helps like homeless people. I mean, you know, and she never talks about that on Facebook or. I mean, even like recently, we were on a trip to Egypt. I think you saw the pictures where we were staying in Egypt, and we were staying at, I guess, you know, 4 or 5 star hotel, and we had a driver who was taking us around Egypt, around Cairo, and we were talking about the poverty in Cairo. And Sarah likes to go, like, you know, shopping and this type of thing. And after she heard what was happening in Cairo, she decided not to spend her money on, you know, clothes or gifts or whatever for her friends, and instead decided to put that money towards buying food for the homeless people in Cairo. So we spent a day. I went out and bought like 100 hot meals from a restaurant, and then water and juice and sweets and things for kids. And we spent the day just handing out food. And that's sort of pretty typical of Sarah. And even over the years, you know, Sarah will say, "Can you send some money to this person or that person?" And I would just send it because they need it at that time. You know, for whatever reason, I don't even question it anymore. I think one time, a couple of years ago, I got a message from Sarah saying, "Can you find a guitar on Amazon?" And I thought that was a weird request for Sarah. She's going to start playing the guitar or something. And she called me later and she said a homeless guy had contacted her, and his guitar had been stolen. And his guitar was how he made money. He was like, you know, went out and busking to make money. Now he had no way of making any money. So I went onto Amazon and bought a guitar and had it sent to the homeless shelter where he was staying. And the guitar disappeared. So it arrived at the homeless shelter, and then it was no more, as it were. So I had to send a second guitar to this guy, and I sent it to a different address, and he got it in the end. But you know, those are the kind of things that, you know, Sarah doesn't really talk about, which you know, she can't, you know, she's not the kind of, she's very, I don't know, modest, I guess you would say, and very she doesn't really like the public eye, even though she is, I guess you would say, she's a public figure. Even like speaking in front of large audiences and conferences and events, she's still very I mean, I personally think she's quite good at it, but she's very self-critical of herself, I think, in a lot of ways. But yeah, I forgot what I was talking about there. What the question was.
From the live chat, I'm going to put it up on the screens for you. And this is from Ellen Fox. Ellen asks, "How long has Sarah been on Gaia TV, and what is the name of the segment she was on?" I know she was interviewed by George Noory on Gaia TV, but can you tell us a little more about her involvement with Gaia TV?
Yeah, she's done free episodes on George Noory show. In fact, episode 3 is going to be out next week, on 22nd of July. That'll be her third appearance on Beyond Belief. She also made one appearance on Buzzsaw with Sean Stone on Gaia TV. She did film a series with Gaia TV.
Controversy about that in my email box. She dated Sean Stone for a while?
For a brief time, yeah.
Okay. Just to address that, people are sending me stuff going, "Oh, she dated the Sean Stone guy," and I don't know. Okay, I think she's single. She's allowed to date whoever she wants, whether it's Sean Stone. I didn't understand the criticism of her dating Sean Stone, but I just want you to confirm or deny that. I don't think there's any controversy there, but I don't know much about Sean Stone, so I don't know what people are alluding to.
I don't know either.
There's another comment, and I don't know what you want to say about this, but somebody said, "Of course he wants her making money because he profits off of it." Are you profiting if she profits, or what's the deal there? Just to address that.
Sarah does pay me, yeah, a modest, I guess, small salary for what I do. I mean, I work part-time for her, and I put a lot of work into like the website, and spend a lot of time replies, responding to emails and things like that. But I don't make like I don't make thousands of dollars a year out of it. So it's not like I'm making, a lot of money out of it. No.
I think somebody was sort of implying you're getting a cut of the take, and that's not the case, is it?
No, that's not the case.
Another question from William Pixley. Has Sarah ever given any testimony about where she thinks her powers come from? Something more than just from God?
She would say, yeah, from source. I would say Sarah would be better to answer that question.
Yeah, this is one of the mysterious things about her, though, is because I kind of found this explanation of like very early on where she was saying maybe she was part of government experiments with this black goo being injected into her. Later, I found explanations where she is alluding to some involvement with aliens in Edwards Air Force Base. And most recently, she just says, my abilities are from source. But she's also told me directly, she said something to me, and I said, say that again twice. And she said, I am not of this earth. Do you care to unpack or comment on that comment? Well, I mean, what do you think when she says things like that? Because I'm not sure what to think myself.
That's a tough one. I mean, she is human, as in she looks human. But I've seen a lot of things that would contradict that. I think even on your show the other day, was it Eric who talked about her eyes?
Yeah.
Her eyes morphed or changed or whatever. I've seen that myself, and I've seen a few other things that are not normal for a human being. I guess it's the only way of putting it. Whether she's an alien or whatever, I can't comment on that. It's a difficult one, even though I know her quite well, how to explain what it is that she is. I guess you could say the closest word I would want to use is a hybrid or something. That's not even the right word, but it's the closest word I can come up with to say that, yes, she's human, but she's something else as well.
Wow. Has she ever submitted herself to any kind of DNA study?
No.
Do you think she will? Or would?
Again, you'd have to ask her that.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you too long. I realize it's almost 4 o'clock in the morning where you're at. I really appreciate you doing this and trying to shed some more light on the strange case of Sarah Adams. I appreciate that you took the time to do this, and especially to address, since you work so closely with her. I thought it would leave me more time when I interview Sarah to get into, these things like you're saying that you can't answer. We could have you answer some of the stuff. I appreciate you taking the time to do this, Taj. I really do.
That's fine. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. So.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for being a guest here, and I will be in touch with Sarah to schedule our interview. Let her know, please.
Okay, I will do. Thanks.
All right. Thanks. Good night, Taj. All right, friends. So that was Taj, who is one of the assistants of Sarah Adams. Now, friends, I'm going to turn my attention here to the live chat. Oh, sorry. Taj, do you know her blood type? Out of mind, that is a great question. I'm sorry I didn't see it when he was with us. I'll ask Sarah, and we can get you that answer. William Pixley says, great question. William Pixley also says, thank you, Taj. Rick says, thanks, Taj. Yeah, so, okay, friends. So I mentioned that I've had now 3 sessions with Sarah Adams. I gave a very long and lengthy explanation of the first session. And quite honestly, that stream that I did was like right, the next day after the session. And I was still mulling over in my head what happened. But as time went on and I began to reconstruct what the session with her consisted of, I started to realize some things, and something felt incredibly familiar about the beginning of these sessions. Now, we played a session that she did with another show host, Uh, and in that session, it was interesting to me that the beginning of the session was edited out, or appeared to have been edited out. In my case, I had the session live on the telephone. And so I got the full beginning of one of her sessions, or what I believe she does at the beginning of most of her sessions. And I have to say that initially I was floored. I was floored because I've looked into so many different psychics. Nobody's been able to create a physical effect in my body, especially on the phone or at a distance. And she told me she would do that, and she did that. Later, I started reconstructing things, and I felt stupid because I've done magic and mentalism shows. I know a lot about hypnosis. If I can make excuses, here's what I would say, because some of these are valid excuses. The first session that I had with her, well, actually every session that I have with her seems to be at like 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. This girl does not sleep much. Neither do I. So I guess, but the first session, it was 12:30 at night. I had been up and awake since 7 a.m. I was extremely tired. I would say I was pretty relaxed. And friends, I am not immune to, like, let's just say, like a female with a very soothing, nice voice. And the way this session began was kind of like, I want you to close your eyes, focus on the sound of my voice, blank out your mind, don't think of anything, try to just focus on the sound of my voice. And she kept repeating this like a mantra. Just focus on my voice. You're going to begin to feel more and more relaxed. You're feeling more relaxed now, more relaxed. Focus on my voice. Focus on your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. You're becoming more and more relaxed. I don't know how I didn't catch it. I don't know how I didn't catch it in the middle of the session, but I really went into this session going, I'm too skeptical. I'm going to try to turn off my skeptic mind here to do this session, because I want to get the full experience. People have told me that they have these crazy cool experiences with her session. So I said, hey, I'm down. I turned off my skeptic mind. This girl is going, you're going to begin to feel more and more relaxed, more and more relaxed. You're drifting off into a state of total relaxation. Oh, geez, these headphones. 1 second, friends. The headphone just popped off like an explosion. These are falling apart. I couldn't find my earbuds again. I think I left them at the cabin. So she was saying, you're going to begin to feel more and more relaxed. You're drifting off into a state of total relaxation. Your mind is becoming clear. You're feeling more and more relaxed. I didn't catch it. Okay? I didn't catch it. Do you know what that is, friends? That is a hypnotic induction. That is a textbook hypnotic induction. And I should have caught it, but I did. I did not catch what I believe she was doing. Now, here's what I will say. Do I know for a fact that she was either trained by a hypnotist, read books on hypnotism, or she may not even be aware that that's what she's doing? There's a such phenomenon. I talked to a stage hypnotist who told me that some people pick up these skills and they're not even aware that they're using hypnotic techniques on people. They're sort of a natural hypnotist. They have ability to get people into that relaxed hypnotic state. In my case, I'm sure that what she did was a hypnotic induction. I was up from 7 o'clock in the morning. It was 12:30. She'd tell me, relax, relax. She's got a beautiful voice. Hey, I'm human. I'm a man. This girl with a beautiful voice is talking to me, lulling me into this really nice, relaxed state. You're going to feel great after this. And I did. She began to use hypnotic suggestions over and over again. What I now believe were hypnotic suggestions over and over again. You're going to begin to feel a warmth in your chest. It's going to feel, you're going to be feeling slightly warm now, you're going to feel some slight warmth in your chest. And now that warmth is getting warmer and warmer and growing throughout your chest. Do you feel that? Do you feel that warmth? Yeah, I felt a warmth. I'm sure that I felt a warmth. She told me that I would begin to feel pins and needles or tingles in my body. And I would have, like a chill. You may feel a chill. And Do you feel that? Do you feel that? And for a while, I didn't feel anything. And then she said, oh, you're going to feel it in a moment. You're going to feel it. You're definitely going to feel a chill or pins and needles. Just wait for it. Relax. Do you feel the pins and needles? Do you feel the chill? And suddenly I had a chill up. You know, when you get a chill. And I'm telling you, friends, I was blown away. I was blown away because I have never encountered a fake psychic who either took the time or used hypnotic techniques, stage hypnosis techniques. Never have I've encountered so many fake psychics. They all use cold reading. Every single one of them use cold reading. And she didn't, not in this first session. But I believe she used a hypnotic induction at the beginning of the session. And I also found it interesting that when she did a session for another show host, that induction, the whole beginning part, which may have been 10 minutes, maybe 15, where she's telling me to breathe in, breathe out. You're going to begin to feel more and more relaxed as you drift off into a state of blissful relaxation. She's very, very effective at getting you into what I feel is a relaxed state where hypnotic suggestion will work. That's what I believe now. Now, further, there was 2 more sessions. Oh, let me see. I don't even know how to unpack the next 2 sessions except to say this. So after I sort of had my realization that she was using hypnotic induction techniques to make these effects happen or make me believe that I was feeling a physical effect. And remember, the physical effects that she's telling people they're going to feel is sort of like a convincer. Like, I'm working on your heart, so you're going to begin to feel a warmth in your chest. That warmth in your chest is getting warmer and warmer and warmer. Do you feel that? Do you feel the warmth in your chest? It's growing. It's growing. It's spreading throughout your chest. You should be feeling warmer and warmer in your chest. It's spreading throughout your whole chest. That's hypnotic suggestion, friends. That's what that is. But I believe that if she's knowingly doing this to convince her clients that she's doing something, okay, I'm working on your heart, I don't know what to say. I've never encountered a psychic that was that skilled at these kind of techniques that they could do that. Maybe I've never encountered a psychic that figured out that you could use hypnotic suggestion as a convincer. Now, I'm going to sound very skeptical now about her abilities because I went and did more research into hypnotic inductions. And I'm telling you, friends, what she did to me in the beginning of that first session was classic. Pick up a book on hypnosis. Go Google hypnotic induction techniques. Go look on YouTube for hypnotic induction techniques. And what she did to me, you will find in those how-to videos. You will find in the hypnotism books. But again, do I know that she was trained by a hypnotist, that she studied hypnotic techniques, that she is do I even know that she is intentionally trying to deceive people using hypnotic techniques and a hypnotic induction at the beginning of her sessions? No, I do not know that. But I will say, if she is intentionally doing this, it's brilliant. It's brilliant, friends, because no fake psychic I've ever encountered was either smart enough or sly enough or deceptive enough to use that kind of a technique to convince people. So imagine that you're doing these healing sessions and you're telling people, I'm working on your aura. And you may feel, or no, I think this chakras. She told me she was working on my chakras, aligning my chakras. Okay, you're aligning my chakras. Friends, I know what chakras are generally, but I don't understand when people say your chakras are out of alignment. I don't know what that means, really. I don't know. So she's telling me she's going to align my chakras and that I'll begin to feel tingling or chills as they come into alignment. Do you feel that chill? Do you feel that you might feel pins and needles up your back, down your spine? Do you feel that chill? Again, this is a hypnotic technique. The form of suggestion. I'm in this relaxed state. This nice girl with a pretty voice is lulling me into a hypnotic state. Then she plants the suggestion that I'm going to feel a tingle up my spine, and I did. God is my witness. I did this. You know, that when you get that chill, friends, if she's doing this deceptively, it's still brilliant, because she can convince people that she's doing something during these healing sessions. Most of these other spiritual healers, or these kind of people, they just tell you things. They can't convince you that something is actually happening. So I don't know if I'm correct. But I now am very, very skeptical, having had the benefit of unpacking. And this, I got to tell you that the realization that she was using hypnotism, I literally jumped out of bed and ran to a computer to look up hypnotic inductions, because it suddenly dawned on me. And I got to say, during this first session, it was so, I was floored. I was like, this girl can really do something. She can make physical effects happen. Do I think she's aligning my chakras? I don't know. Is she really working on my aura? I don't know. But she's making me feel physical effects at a distance. I was shocked and amazed and intrigued and floored, honestly, at the first session, until that realization came to me. I kept thinking about what was that part in the beginning, and why does it seem so familiar to me? It's because, friends, I've got 5 or 10 books on hypnosis. I did mentalism shows, and I used a little bit of hypnosis. Honestly, I was always too nervous to use full-blown hypnotic techniques, because if you're not really good at it on stage, you don't want a lot of things failing. But I would practice on stage using some of those techniques, because if 1 or 2 of, let's say, the tricks or effects in the night of 25 or 30 tricks or effects fail, it's okay. So after I had a few successful tricks that went well, I would call somebody up and try to do some hypnosis techniques. And yeah, I used these hypnotic inductions. Hadn't for 10 years, but her beginnings seemed so familiar to me, because I had read, this is a textbook, in my view. What she was doing at the beginning of the first session was a textbook hypnotic induction. Now, she decided that I needed more sessions, because things were still, my chakras were way out of line. My aura had problems. My DNA had problems. And she could tell that I needed a lot more work. Okay, I needed a lot more work. Part of me thought, if you are selling this service, I thought, of course you're going to tell somebody 1 session's not enough. You're going to need some more sessions. And again, I don't even know what she was supposed to be doing during that first session. She told me she was repairing my DNA, repairing and upgrading problems with my DNA. She told me she was aligning my chakras, and things of that nature, things that I can't prove or disprove. I don't know what she's doing. She told me she was working on my organs. She started rattling off percentages, like, oh, your heart is only operating at 70%. Your lungs are at 55%. I'm going to bring those levels up more to their optimum level. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't know. And I got to say, though, after the first session, I did feel great. I felt great. I felt like I had, I felt restful, and I felt like lighter, I guess. She told me I would feel lighter. Was that a hypnotic suggestion? I think so. She told me that I would, one of the other things that she did during the first session is basically told me that she had just healed all of my past trauma, all of it. In the session, she said, it took a long time, because she wanted me to think about every painful thing that had ever happened in my life, every trauma I experienced, every time someone hurt me, every time I felt betrayed, every time that someone really did something wrong to me, and every grudge that I had, every traumatic event she told me to just pack it all in to this big black bubble. And then she was going to float that bubble to the sun, and all that trauma was gone. So she told me at this first session that I would no longer think about my past traumas and they wouldn't affect me anymore in my present day life. Do I think that that worked? I think that it might have for a few days. I realized a few days after the first session that I didn't really think about grudges or things that I might on a daily basis. You know, those things, they run through your mind. You go, oh, yeah, fuck that person. You know, they wronged me. So actually, probably for a good 3-4 days, I felt very positive, and I didn't think about anybody that, any kind of trauma, really, any kind of pain that I have or had growing up, or really anything, for 3 or 4 days. I believe now that again, it only lasted for a few days. Maybe it helped, I don't know, but this could be more evidence that she planted hypnotic suggestion to me to not think about past trauma. Remember, friends, the way hypnosis works is the suggestion is planted into your subconscious, and it's going to be there for some time. Eventually, that suggestion fades from your subconscious, and it's no longer effective. That's why if you go and, for example, try to quit smoking, and a hypnotist works on you, you got to go back, and he has to replant those suggestive things that are working for you. Yes, BGs, the power of suggestion. And Ellen Fox, I heard that you asked, did I ask her to repair my eye? I did in a later session, and I can't recall what she said about that. But it was it was pretty open-ended. Like, she didn't confirm that she could heal my eye. It was she kind of gave me a weird answer that I didn't quite understand. And then we have Paranormal Jiggy in the house, Lee Veltman, all those psychics, and like we saw at both events in Arizona, and none of them knew what was up with me. Yeah. Okay. Super V Funcat says, I had a psychic who was friends with Sarah tell me I needed to have a soul contract nullified, and he needed to have his higher self take my higher self to a galactic court. For $333, he could save my soul. Super V, the fact that some people actually fall for that and accept that is the case and just give people money. Friends, the oldest psychic scam is the You're Cursed scam. And that goes something like this. You walk into one of those psychic places, right? And you say, I want a tarot card reading. They give you the tarot card reading, and then after that, they look at you. And I've had this happen to me 10 times, friends, at least 10 times. I've gotten the You're Cursed con. They look at you and they go, I have bad news for you. Do you know that someone placed a hex or curse on you? Have you had bad luck? Have you been having trouble, getting through life? You're having a lot of difficulty right now, aren't you? I can see that. You've got a hex or a curse on you. And then they hit you with the big dollars. So the tarot card reading was like $20, but if you give me $300, I'm going to light some candles and I'll clear the curse for you. Right? This is one of the oldest tricks in the book of the fake psychics. They all do that You're Cursed con. Maybe not all of them, but I've had so many of them do that You're Cursed con. It's really, really common that they do that. Super V Fun Cat also says, power of positive thinking works and heals. If I can get there on your own, it can help have someone woo you there. Yeah, and that's what I believe. And also, I forgot to bring it up to him, but this Taj said, well, a few sessions may not be enough. You need to have more sessions, and it'll have an accumulative effect. If she is using hypnotic suggestion, then more sessions will reinforce those hypnotic suggestions that she's placing in people's subconscious. And so, to me, I believe that she's using hypnotic suggestion. Oh, and so we didn't get to the next 2 sessions. Friends, I am hearing a strange rumbling in my house right now. And by that, I mean children running around or screaming. And I'm not quite sure what's going on. So we're going to have to take a short break so I can check on the home front. But when we get back, I'm going to tell you about the next 2 sessions. And I got to tell you, friends, when I leveled with her and told her, I believe you're using hypnotic induction techniques and suggestion to create these effects, the next 2 sessions went a lot differently than the first one. So, friends, we're going to take a short break. I will be right back. Okay, friends, sorry about that. And we are back. All is good. All is okay. So I'm going to unpack the next two sessions very quickly. I'm going to go to the live chat too, and I'll be taking comments and questions. If you have anything that you want to share, please be sure that you put your comments or questions for me in all caps. That really does help me because I'm somewhat visually impaired. Okay, we have a question here from John Claude at Beyond Mystic. Stephen, did Sarah mention she learned this skill while she was in the Super Soldier program or even where she got training? That's a good question, John Claude at Beyond Mystic. I don't believe that I've seen you here before. Welcome. And please do subscribe if you like this kind of content. We're looking for new friends. I don't want to say confronted, because here's the thing. This girl's very nice to me. She has been very nice and open and honest. I believe she's being honest with me when I ask her questions and things like that. So I don't want to be rude or nasty or disrespectful, but I wanted to call her on what I think she's doing, which is hypnotic suggestion. She claimed she doesn't know anything about hypnosis. She's never been trained by anybody in hypnosis, and that she's not using hypnosis. So for the second session, she said, I can work on you and you'll feel the same effects and I won't say anything. And I thought, great. So we arranged for the second session, and then BG's asked, Stephen, did you pay for this? No, she did these sessions as a demonstration of her abilities to allow me to, sort of investigate her claims, which I got to say, I was kind of surprised that she was willing to, let's just say, play ball with somebody that she probably knows a little bit about me, that I'm skeptical. So the second session, she said, I'm not going to say anything. Just close your eyes. I won't say anything. And okay. So there was this long, and I mean long, it might have been 7 minutes of silence. And a few times I went, are you okay? Are you there? And she said, I'm still working. Just hold on. You'll begin to feel something. Now, for the second session, here's what I did. I took a nap that day. I wanted to make sure I was going to be alert and very attentive, but not be susceptible to any hypnotic suggestion or form of induction. And I even, sort of consciously was telling myself, don't fall into a relaxed state where she can use these techniques. So for 5 or 7 minutes, nothing happened. Then she began, I believe, to use some certain cold reading techniques, generalizations, and then she was kind of, I need more time to do the work. It's not working because I need more time. So just be silent and we'll I'll try again. And again, nothing happened. No physical effects. I don't know what she was supposed to be doing. I'm assuming once again, does Sarah claim to be a super soldier? I thought that was just Max and she was a military brat. No, there are early videos of her on the Basis Project where she claims that she was involved in some kind of top secret government projects where she was abducted as a child and she was injected with black goo, and that black goo changed her and maybe gave her, super soldier abilities. I don't believe she used the term super soldier abilities, but she was talking about the Montauk Project and how they're kidnapping all these kids and injecting them with this black goo. It's kind of crazy. So we have the super soldier stuff that she sort of started with, and then she morphed into, now I'm an intuitive healer. And I guess if I were to sort of critique what she's doing, she sort of just downplays that. And we heard that from Taj, who kind of just says, well, it's about her childhood. I'm not really sure. But I found a video that we were referencing tonight, which really it affected her credibility with me, because I went, this really does affect her credibility, because first she's claiming that, she's a super soldier. She was abducted as a child. Maybe she, had these strange experiences with this AI. I think it's that AI black goo, right? That everybody was talking about for quite a while. That was a thing, right? AI black goo. Do I believe in AI black goo? No, not in the least. I know a lot about computers, and people like to throw nanotechnology and, all of these conspiracy theories about nanobots, nanotechnology, AI infused black goo. I don't find any of that credible, just with what I know about computer science and the state of actual nanotechnology. We're not at the state where we're creating any kind of AI black goo that can make somebody a super soldier. I could be wrong. Somebody's free to try to prove me wrong. I just don't buy that stuff. Do not buy that stuff one bit. And I'm trying desperately to find this. Took me a while to find this. I have to find this video. I actually have a few. There is a bunch of Basis projects with her as the, with her getting interviewed. And it just kind of affected her credibility with me. So the second session, absolutely, if she was stripped of this ability to use hypnotic induction techniques, I had absolutely no physical effects. I felt nothing. I'm not sure what I was supposed to be feeling. We didn't really talk about it or unpack that. It just seemed like she wasn't able to do anything once she wasn't able to use hypnotic induction techniques. And I got to say, it was disappointing to me when I sort of realized or had my realization that that's how she was accomplishing these physical effects, I was extremely disappointed. At first, when that happened to me, I really thought there was something there. I thought maybe she's got some kind of supernatural abilities. Maybe she really is doing something to my chakras or my aura. You know, I don't know. It seemed strange to me that it went by so. It was the turn. This is what I call it the turn. And that is sometimes when I first start looking into one of these people, one of these psychic healers, there's been a few close calls where I went, wow, you know, this person may really have some kind of supernatural ability. And then later you dig a little deeper, you find a little more information, and your opinion changed. Okay. And Super V Funcat says, oh, that's the video she now wants Miles to remove, but he refuses. Yes. And this video, we're going to play a little portion of it tonight. And again, I'm going to say fair use, fair use. We're discussing this Sarah Adams. So we're going to be playing clips from her previous appearance on the Miles Basis project, and we're going to be discussing them. And so this is fair use because we're educating the public about this girl, her history, her claimed psychic powers. Truth Seekers, Stephen, thank you for this episode. Sarah has agreed to come on my show for an interview, and I am doing research. I did want to speak to her about the Super Soldier program. Oh, good, Jean-Claude. That's nice to meet a fellow content producer. Let me DM me on Twitter or send me an email at truthseekershow@gmail.com about your show. I'd like to check it out. Okay, here's this T1. You will find evidence of Taj being paid thousands at a time as well. He was lying about the amount he gets for being her personal assistant. I don't know who this T1 person is, but if you have evidence of that, send it to me, and we'll talk to Sarah Adams about that. But if you're just making these claims without any evidence, those are serious charges to make to accuse him of. You know, you really should have some evidence. And you did have one other comment that I found interesting. Adams actually is one of the names of one of the bloodline families. She has a ton of videos out there. Watch them, and you will start getting contradicts of the yin yang. If you look on Facebook, you will. Yeah, I have found some things contradictory. And here's what I want to say about this video. I'm going to play this video or portions of it. When I watched this video, to me, a lot of her credibility went right out the window. And it's just like UFO disease. For me, it's like pick a lane, you know? And Sarah really, like I mentioned earlier when I was talking to Taj, it's like a lot of check boxes. Psychic, intuitive healer, super soldier. You know, maybe she was part of top secret government projects where she was abducted as a child and injected with black goo. And, you know, they try to make her give her superpowers. And when I watched this video we're going to share, it seemed to me almost like a superhero origin story. Like she was explaining where her superpowers came from in the form of this black goo. We're going to play a portion of that, and we're going to see, really, I want to see what you guys think. Do you guys think that the video where she's claiming black goo and being a super soldier, does that affect her credibility now in saying that she is a intuitive healer? I think it does. We're going to play portions of this and see what happens. So this is Sarah Adams, but she's called Rachel back then. Taj explained maybe she didn't want to give her real name, and that's why she used Rachel. Not sure why she's not Sarah Adams here, Rachel. And this is quite some time ago. I can get the date, actually. This is June 7th, 2013. And this is, Taj says it's one of her first videos. I'm not quite sure. And again, we're going to say fair use, fair use. We'll be discussing this. I'll be stopping the video every once in a while to comment. And let's see parts of this. And I've skipped ahead because I'm not quite sure where she starts talking about the black goo and the origin of her superpowers. or psychic powers or abilities, but it's in here somewhere.
Or it rains down, or they swim in it, or they get in it, obviously it has an effect on them, and lots of different effects on them. So they're trying to do is they're trying to pretty much pollute everybody in the world where they don't know what's going on anymore, even the few awakened one, and they need to absorb these negative emotions.
Polluting the life force of the earth.
Yes, they're polluting the life force of the earth, and they're absorbing. They're like.
And I have to say that this video sort of struck me like a David Wilcock video, because she strings together all kinds of different disconnected stuff that I don't really understand. And it seems like rambling and almost nonsensical at parts. And in other parts, she speaks very succinctly and clearly and makes, I guess, good points, but it's a lot of stuff thrown together, sort of like that throw enough shit at a wall, something's got to stick. I find that to be a technique used by many sort of cosmic con men, fake UFO guys, conspiracy theorists. They string together all kinds of disconnected things. I'm not sure, in this case, if she's doing it intentionally or just that's the way the conversation went.
It seemed like a dream of being injected with this black goo.
Oh, here we go. We got to back this up a little bit. This is where she talks about being injected with this black goo, being abducted as a child.
All the way from different royal bloodlines, German royal bloodline, French royal bloodlines. It was to see which ones would survive and not break, and which ones they could upgrade to a point where they could literally use these children and the abilities that they have, and also enhance those abilities. However, the thousands they did it to, there was only, from what I understand, no more than a dozen that came out okay. If okay, a lot of other
ones, the children
died, the thousands, but they went out mental or some sort of things were physically wrong with them. What they were looking for is a person who didn't break physically, mentally, and a person who actually became stronger from it.
So this has happened to you.
This has happened to me. It made me stronger instead of breaking me.
So what happened with the?
Yeah. So here she tells a story of being involved in some kind of top secret government project where they were taking people that were descendants of royal bloodlines from Germany, from the United Kingdom, from France, but you had to be part of a royal bloodline. So I'm assuming now, and she has told me some kind of connection that she believes her family has to the French royal bloodline. It is what it is. These are the claims that she's making. Let's move on. And she talks about being injected with some sort of black goo that gave her these abilities, made her stronger. It didn't break her.
How did they inject this thing?
You know what? If I remember that it was injected into my bone marrow. I remember, right? Yes, it was injected into my bone marrow.
Which, my friends, I said this sound like a superhero origin story. And at first, I just said to myself, this sounds like a superhero origin story. But then I remembered Wolverine. For those that don't know, the X-Men Wolverine, the guy with the claws, he had adamantium, liquid adamantium infused into his bone marrow and bones to create a indestructible metal skeleton and claws. That may be why I thought this sounded like a superhero origin story.
I remember my eyes, I woke up and I had just awakened up from having what seemed like a dream of being injected with this black goo. And it was very painful, it was very, very painful, by the way.
What kind of pain?
It was horrible pain. I can't express to you. They had to you were tied with metal because of the fact that the pain that you went through would put an adrenaline rush so that you would move, but you were tied down with metal.
And again, I've seen more than a few superhero origin stories where somebody was experimented on before they got their superpowers, where they were sort of strapped down. So that made me think about, again, superhero origin stories.
Metal around the different parts onto this metal bed, essentially, and then they injected you. The thing is that the pain was really horrible. I woke. It's like I woke from sleeping. I had this memory of that. I woke from sleeping and my nose was bleeding really bad. I had really bloody nose, blood in my mouth. I went to the bathroom and I was just young, really young. I was like 13 or 14 back then. I just walked and I remember I looked at my eyes.
And again, there's been a lot of mention of she has some kind of weird ability to make her eyes do something weird or her eyes change. And this is the first mention of that I've found.
And my eyes started to get really, 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 really black. And I felt like I was being
When
pulled.
you say your eyes went black, are you talking about the pupil?
The whole. What happened is I started to feel like I was being pulled into a black hole. Like I was being absorbed by a black hole into a pit. And it was uttermost despair. And every emotion I could think of, every bad emotion, to the point of it was like the deepest fear I've ever had. And I was going there and I thought, I don't know what's happening to me. Like I'm being pulled in this black hole. At the last instant, I thought I'm trying to hold on to myself.
Yeah, so this is kind of like, she goes on to sort of make herself the hero of the story, though, because apparently this black goo destroys most people, but her, it made her stronger.
And fighting with this thing, at the last instant, I was like, felt total peace. Like, I need to have peace in this. I felt peace. Like, well, this is what's going to happen. I had just have immense peace. And suddenly it let go. But when I had looked in the mirror, my eyes had turned all black. And then suddenly the black left.
How did it leave?
The black just stopped. Like I had an instance where it would crawl. My skin would move because it would crawl. And in the top of my mouth, it would crawl. It'd crawl in all the time. My skin would crawl all the time with it. And I literally could feel it crawling inside of me.
Now, I don't want to make any claims here, but I think all of us know somebody that has had drug issues that felt like their skin was crawling. I'm not saying that's the case here, but that was one thing that occurred to me when I heard this particular part.
Well, like around a day after that, I
Okay, Rachel, we had a battery run out there.
That's okay.
What we want to do is go back into the time you were.
have ever had. I don't, even to this day when I think about it, I still have a somewhat terrified feeling about it. I started to try to fight with this thing, and I was fighting as hard as I could possibly fight with it, of trying not to let it take over me. And I guess I came to a point of desperation. It was almost like being pulled into a black hole and trying to hold on. And whenever I was being pulled into this black hole, I got such deep emotions of fear. I was terrified. Just the deepest, worst emotions that I have ever felt that were very, very negative. So it was also trying to break me in that way. It was trying to give me these emotions so that I would let go, because
And again, she's referencing getting injected with black goo that's creating this experience for her. I'm not sure what to think about that, friends.
7 now, so it's been quite a long time. I have a problem with timelines.
You're
because
maybe the late 90s.
Yes.
Where was this taking place?
Huh?
Where was this taking place?
Whenever
Where was home for you?
this was taking place, I was in Idaho when this was taking place, actually, from what I remember right. I do have a problem with time and timelines because of the fact of everything in my head that happened to me, and it seems like they have some control over time, and they're.
Friends, I'm not sure what to think. We're just going to watch another minute or so of this. I don't know where she's going with this story, but again, it sounded to me like sort of a superhero origin story. She was injected with this black goo. Some people it breaks and destroys them. Other people it makes them stronger and gives them special abilities. I'm not sure what to think.
Able to manipulate time, as to whereas you maybe. If this presence, and I think it has to tie in. It ties into the whole Gnostic teachings on the archons, and it ties into the whole thing that they have the really black eyes. They were filled with this black goo. Apparently, whenever I've heard that some people say that they are filled with that black goo inside of them. This is quite.
This Gnostic teachings of
The Gnostic teachings.
Okay, friends, we're going to stop the share here. And again, I'm going to say fair use, fair use. We are going to be discussing this. So, okay. Super V Fun Cat, her accent fluctuation trips me out. I love the shorts. Leave it to a woman to comment on the outfit, right? Super V Fun Cat? Okay, yes. Jean-Claude at Beyond Mystic. Yes, that was the episode where she did say that she saw kids in cages having their energies harvested. That was another part of this long, sort of rambling story. Out of Mind says, can change their eye color in some cases. I used to make myself look sick by using different shadows and eyeliners to get out of school and work. Very devious, Out of Mind. I'm sorry I'm way behind in the chat. So now I'm at the bottom of the chat. We have Jasmine Emmerich. Shout out to Jasmine Emmerich. I've been studying Gnosticism. I've never heard the archons had black goo in their eyes or anywhere else. I've studied Gnosticism myself, Jasmine, and I've never heard mention of that myself. Sagittarially speaking, says, let's call Ryan Gable. He could give us the scoop on black goo. Yeah, I don't know about that. And Keltruth77 seems like she's remembering a script she read. Yeah, so having, now seen some initial claims she made, here's what I'll say. If I had met her and her checkbox was just, I'm an intuitive healer, and we didn't find other sort of crazy conspiracy claims in her background, I would trust her more somehow, because it just seems it doesn't look good for her credibility that she was a member. I guess this is like the first interview of her publicly, and during this interview she's telling this story of being a member of some kind of secret government project where they kidnapped her and they injected her with this black goo, which affected her and gave her special abilities. It made her stronger. It's a crazy, crazy story. And then we go on, and later in other videos, she's explaining some connection that her family had to Edwards Air Force Base, and she said that's where they kept the alien bodies. We heard Taj tonight sort of say she may be a hybrid. I've heard several people claim that she was a hybrid, half human, half alien being. She has told me herself, and I said, come again? Wait, let me make sure that I hear what you're saying, and I'm sure that you're saying this. She has told me, Stephen, I am not of this earth. So I don't know. We have three different explanations, I suppose, or superhero kind of origin stories for where her abilities may have come from. She may have been a member of some kind of, I don't know, a black government project to inject people with some kind of AI nanotechnology to change them and give them special abilities. She may be an alien hybrid. She's alluded to that, and so have others, that she has some connection with Edwards Air Force Base, and there was some experimentation that she was aware of there that she may have been a part of with alien DNA. And most lately, yes, if she admits to having alters, it could be an alter speaking, and that's why she wants the vid down. Also explains the accent fluxing from video to video. Here it is Southern, but distorted Southern. She has mentioned, Super V Fun Cat, she has mentioned alters to me, even during the sessions. I'm going to have one of my alters work on you. And my only, my first thought was alters, like, do you have multiple personality disorder? Because people who have multiple personality disorder have alters. And I began to suspect, if she's going to claim that she has these different alters that have different abilities and are not her, that she may have some kind of mental illness like multiple personality disorder. And this would also explain some of these fantastical stories. And this made me very sad to realize if she does have multiple personality disorder, because ask most psychologists, most people who suffer from multiple personality disorder, the alters are created in them, the other personalities are created in them to escape severe childhood, usually childhood trauma. And so I began to get sad for her if that's the case, and it would explain a lot. I'm not saying that it is. I'm not a psychologist, but I would probably recommend that she at least explores the possibility that some of her, let's just say, issues are psychological in nature and not super, psychic or supernatural. Okay. Yeah. Jean-Claude, the altar might be the walk-in star seed she speaks of. As best as I could recall, she told me that the altar would be raising my vibration when she talked about the altar. So let's get back, friends, to the second session. So the second session that I had with her, absolutely nothing happened. I was very alert. She agreed. It was really her suggestion that she could still do these things without even speaking. And I thought, I got to tell you the truth. I thought if she makes my chest warm, spine tingle, and other physical effects without even speaking, I'll believe that she has these supernatural abilities, because then you can, if she's not able to use her voice, we can rule out hypnotic suggestion, hypnotic inductions. Without that, friends, she was not able to do anything, nothing. And one other thing I wanted to mention, during the first session, she started telling me, I had told her that I had an autistic son that doesn't speak. And she had told me a lot of things about my son, things that I don't know if they're true or not. Things like his favorite color is blue. Well, he's an 8-year-old boy. I'm pretty sure that a lot of 8-year-old boys' favorite color is blue, but he doesn't speak. So, but he'll respond sometimes when you talk to him. It depends. He speaks, but almost very, very little, mostly requests, usually for food. So the day after the first session, I went to my son and I said, the only way I'll be able to verify what she's saying is maybe by multiple choice, give him a choice. So I said to Zachary, what's your favorite color, blue or yellow? He said blue. I said, Zachary, what's your favorite color, blue or red? And he does know colors, and he can point to red, blue, green, yellow if you give him cards or something like that. But every time, Zachary, what's your favorite color, blue or brown? He said blue. What's your favorite color, blue or black? He said blue. And I was floored by that a little bit. And I got very emotional because my son's 8 years old. I've never known what his favorite color was. And I thought maybe, just maybe, somehow she knew his favorite color was blue. I got very emotional with my son that day. And I thought, and I even mentioned on part one, if nothing else, I was happy to meet this woman because now I know what my son's favorite color is. But there's a problem. My wife, I told my wife about this, and my wife said, he just parrots the last word that you say, right? And I said, what do you mean? And she said, Zachary, come here. And Zachary came over and she said, Zachary, what's your favorite color, blue or yellow? He said, yellow. What's your favorite color, black or yellow? He said, yellow. We tried it again, whatever the last word we said, he would just repeat. So if I said, what's your favorite color, Zachary, green or red? He would say red. He just repeats. It's called parroting. A lot of autistic children do it. They just repeat the last word you said. So my initial excitement about her helping me find out what my son's favorite color sort of just went away. And sadly, I still don't know what my son's favorite color is. But back to the second session, absolutely nothing happened. But then she started using generalizations and cold reading. And I found that a little suspect because I thought, well, I've taken her ability to use hypnotic suggestion away. Now, she didn't in the first session, but now I felt like she was resorting to typical psychic skills. But it's not a psychic skill. It's called cold reading, and they all do it. Cold reading goes something like this. If we have a volunteer in the audience, I haven't done this in a long time, but if we have a volunteer in a live chat, I will give you a reading. So if somebody would like to volunteer for that, actually, it'd be better if it's somebody that I don't know very well. So if somebody would like to volunteer, I will give a demonstration of what cold reading is. And then you, the participant, can tell me, Jonaside, here we go, Jonaside. All right, Jonaside, just give me a moment and I'm going to begin to give you a special reading. Jonaside, I can tell that your heart is in the right place and you're a good person, an honest person. When people are in trouble, they know that they can count on you for help. Sometimes you lack a filter. Sometimes you say things that can sometimes get you into trouble because you're a little too honest with people. Jonaside, you tend to be generous. Generous to your friends and family. They all know that if they're in trouble, even financially, you could be there to help them. And you, at various times in your life, have helped people. Your generosity extends to even people you don't know. You're generous even to strangers. If someone's in trouble and you can help them, you do, Jonaside, because that's the kind of person that you are. Jonaside, if you could tell me in the live chat, how accurate, give it a percentage, how accurate is that reading that I just gave you? And then we'll unpack a little bit of the cold read and how it works. So she began to use cold reading techniques with me, and then sort of came up with some kind of excuse for why she wasn't able to affect me like she did the first session. And it had something to do with a ring. She said, "Oh, I know why this isn't working. You're wearing a ring." And yeah, friends, I'm a married man. She knows I'm a married man, and yeah, I'm wearing a ring. Most married men wear a ring. Again, that's a generalization. Jonaside. Let's go back to Jonaside in his cold reading, his psychic reading that I just gave him. Jonaside said 100%. Yeah, Jonaside. And here's how I could give the same exact reading, Jonaside, to anybody if they didn't know. But let's if we could back this up and forget everybody could not have heard the reading that I just gave Jonaside, and I could give the exact same reading to another person. Most people would say that reading was 90% accurate about them. The same, I could give the same exact reading. That's what some of these psychics do, and people don't realize it. They have a script. The reason that cold reading works is because if you remember, it's only a few minutes ago I gave this reading. I ascribed, first of all, I made many generalizations about Jonaside, and I also, I said all good things. I gave him, I said, you're a good person. You're a generous person. You're a person that people know they can trust. You're generous even to people you don't know. If someone's in trouble and you can help them, you do. Because these friends are all good traits. I said he was an honest person. Friends, let me ask you a question. If you were in the middle of a psychic reading and somebody said, you're an honest person, and you know you're not, are you going to blurt out, no, I'm not. I'm not honest. I lie all the time. No, you're just going to shut up and take that positive love bomb. Excuse me. And this is another way that cold reading works. I'm ascribing very positive things to the subject. I said, Jonaside, you're an honest person. You're a good person. People know they can depend on you. If they're in trouble, they can come to you for help. You're very generous. These are all very positive traits, and people like to feel good. So if I'm telling Jonaside he's an honest, I don't know, Jonaside, you may be the stingy, you may be like Scrooge, you're so stingy. But for the purpose of the reading, you're going to go, yeah, I'm a generous person. Yeah, people can come to me for help, right? And you're going to go through your recent history and you're going to connect the dots. And here's what Jonaside did. He fell for this cold reading, hook, line, and sinker, because he said, I have helped my brother financially and my nieces and nephew. Yeah. So I got some good hits there, right, Jonaside? Because most people have probably helped somebody in their life financially at one time or another, right? So I could get hits there, and this is how fake psychics work. They ascribe these positive values to people. They make them feel good, like telling them that they're a generous person. And most people are going to go, yeah, I am generous. Yeah, people do come to me for help. And you notice that line about you have no filter. Sometimes you're a little too honest and your honesty could get you in trouble. folks, that's everybody. Everybody at one time or another, their mouth has gotten them in trouble. Again, these are generalized statements. I used to have a hell of a script. I could do a reading, and most people, just like, I'm surprised it went that well, actually. I haven't done that in probably, I don't know, 8 or 9 years. I haven't given a reading like that. I used to give readings like that in my mentalism show to people, and people were convinced I was a real psychic. They didn't believe me that it was all entertainment. Oh, here we go, Jonaside. He's connecting the dots again from my reading. Then I gave a homeless gift money for him to feed his dog. Yeah, and you know what, Jonaside? That does mean you're a good person. If you try to help people, you try to, help people when they're in trouble. Most people would try to help people when they're in trouble, even a stranger. But here we see this was a great demonstration of cold reading, because Jonaside is still connecting the dots with the reading I gave him. He's going, yeah, I helped my niece and my brother financially. And yeah, I did help a stranger once. I gave that homeless guy money for him to feed his dog. Holy God, this guy Steve Cambian is a psychic. He knows. How does he know this stuff, right? So the second reading, she started talking about, I have a ring, right? And I said, well, I have a wedding ring, Sarah. You're using cold. And then I was honest with her. I said, Sarah, you're using cold reading. Every man has a ring. Cold reading is also guessing and generalizations. If she knows she's talking to a married man and she says, you're wearing a ring, okay, I'm a married man. Most married men are going to be wearing a ring, especially if a wife like mine. I find it funny. Like, I've never taken off my ring. Maybe once or twice I had to wash my hands that were full of like oil paint or something. I've taken it off to wash my hands, but maybe 5 times in the entire 10 years I've been married. My wife just doesn't wear rings, and so that's okay. But for me, I think I have to wear the ring, right? That means you're taken. So then she said, oh, no, that ring's got some kind of bad energy. It's not, then she said, no, it's not a wedding ring. It's a ring with a single jewel in it. And I said, no, Sarah, I used to wear a lot of rings. And see there, I gave her that. I said, I used to wear a lot of rings. I was in a rock band. I had rings on every finger. And she said, yeah, I could see it. You had a ring with a single stone in it. And that ring was enchanted and is affecting your aura. Okay. And then I, like a dummy, remembered. I said, yeah, I used to have this ring. I think it belonged to my father, somebody in my family, and it had a single ruby in it. Yeah, that's it. That's the ring. That ring was enchanted and it is affecting your aura. That's why I'm unable to work on you. And I said, well, how come you could work on me the first time? And she said, oh, well, there's multiple layers of auras and things, and now I'm being blocked. So basically, when I've taken away her ability to use hypnotic induction and hypnotic suggestion, she defaults to usual fake psychic tactics like using cold reading. That's my personal belief, that she's using cold reading. She's throwing a lot of stuff out there. She's guessing. And then she resorts to making excuses for why her psychic powers aren't working on me that day. Now, again, she was sort of disappointed, and said, well, we're going to have to try again. You need a lot more work. Okay, William Pixley says, I had my palm read once by a total stranger, and he told me stuff about myself there was no way they could know. Still freaks me out. Some people are very good and very skilled at giving these readings, William Pixley. Does it mean that and getting a high accuracy rating, does it mean that they have psychic powers? I'm really not sure. It could mean that they're just very skilled at using these techniques that many of these guys use. Yes, Steve Ronan. Same here, a woman told us stuff from when we were kids. Yes. Super V Funcat says, William Pixley, yes, those are rare, but some people have an absolute true gift. I still hold out the hope that someday I'll find somebody that truly has psychic powers. But here we are, friends, at what I call the turn. And what is the turn? The turn happens after my initial excitement of finding somebody I think may. That first session, I was like, wow, she actually may have some kind of supernatural gifts. How's she able to do this? But when we unpack it, It doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real anymore, especially considering in the second session, Jasmine Emmerich, you should teach cold calling at C.W. Channer's Secret Space Whistleblower School. Yeah, we could really do. Steve Ronan says, yes, Superview Funcat. Most are fake, but some are truly real. Yeah, so, and then we're going to go on to the third session, and I'm just going to do this quickly because I'm running out of steam here, honestly, friends. She called me and arranged for a third session, and again, she wanted to do it in silence, and it was very awkward. And she just told me to close my eyes, and she would begin to work on my aura and my chakras, get my chakras into alignment. And again, absolutely nothing happened. No physical effects, nothing. She told me that I would feel some physical effects while she was doing these things. And she kept, and in the third session, I believe that she tried to use hypnotic suggestion, but minus the induction and the fact that I believe that I was on to that, nothing worked. So she was returning to speaking a little bit, going, you'll begin to feel warmer in your chest. I'm going to work on you now. And then there was 2 or 3 minutes of silence, and I felt nothing. And she said, do you feel that? And I said, no. And she said, okay, it's okay. You should begin to feel warmth in your chest soon. I'm going to continue to work on I think it was my heart at that point. And again, I felt nothing. But she was, again, pumping the hypnotic suggestions, but absent the hypnotic induction, which is required for the hypnotic suggestions to work, none of these effects worked anymore. So at the third session, yeah, I'm pretty disappointed. I'm pretty, I don't want to say let down. She doesn't owe me anything, right? But then we go back to, let me go to the live chat. I still walked away because my mom would never use a psychic. She thought they were all literal witches. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed the first one there. I have psychics approach me at least twice a year in public places. Last time one came up to me and she said she had a message from my mother. My mother is passed, and I'm young enough that she would be alive. Yeah. I walked away because my mom would never use a psychic. She taught us they were all literal witches. Yeah. And okay, let me see. Jean-Claude at Beyond Mystic. Do you think all humans are psychic at some level or another level? Deja vu, precognition, etc. I believe that some people have a greater ability of intuition than others. I do. Is it supernatural or is it just some people are making better educated guesses about future events? I have a friend who works in the stock market. I don't want to say he's psychic, but he's got a good track record of picking good winners, you know? Is he more in tune with his intuition than other guys? I think so. I do think so. William Pixley, I believe we are spirit and do have auras. Some people see them, and who knows? Some folks are tied into wavelengths, most are not. What it all means, who knows? Yeah, if you focus on your own chest, it will get warm, I think. Deck Land, I don't believe I've seen you here before. Welcome to Truth Seekers. We are always seeking new truth-seeking friends. Please do subscribe. It's good to see you here. I've had some irrelevant precog dreams. Yeah, I've had a few where I dreamt of something and then it happened and I went, whoa, at least a few in my lifetime. Yes, Declan, if you focus on your chest, it will get warm. I think we all have some level of psychicness, like, when you pick up vibes. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've been places where I went, wow, this place has sort of a dark energy to it. Maybe. I don't know, The jury's still out with me. I've always wanted to believe that psychic abilities could be real. I've always wanted to find somebody that had genuine psychic abilities. When it comes to the strange case of Sarah Adams, I'm still not sure that I'm correct. I could be wrong. And here's another thing that I just wanted to talk about briefly. Another point to make. She has an incredible fan base of clients and customers who are all extremely happy with the services that she provides. We heard Taj say, yeah, she's been doing this for so many years. Maybe one or two people weren't happy. We gave them their money back. Most of these fake psychics, they don't give refunds. If you're unhappy, okay, you're unhappy. I'm keeping your money. But I will say this. Just because somebody is happy with a service doesn't mean that it has any value. Does that make sense? I'm struggling to word actually what I'm trying to articulate here. Just because somebody is happy with a service doesn't mean they're actually getting it either. For example, Ms. Adams claimed that she was helping to remove my past trauma. Is my past trauma gone? No, friends. Largely, it's still there. It's not like she can erase traumatic memories, though she claimed that she could if I wanted her to. And we actually had a conversation about that. She said, if you have some memories that are really traumatic that you would like to remove, I could do that for you. I almost wanted to do it just to see if she could. It's my belief that she can't. Maybe I can ask her to try that before our interview, but I don't believe that she can erase memories from people. And when we were having this discussion, she was kind of surprised because I said, no, I wouldn't want to erase any trauma in my life. And she said, why? Why would you want to keep holding on to pain? And I said, because it's part of me. Every trauma that we experience makes us, in the ideal situation, it makes us a better person. Those things that we suffer through make us stronger. I believe that. And for myself, I wouldn't want to erase any trauma from my life. It made me who I am today. I don't even believe it's possible for somebody to erase trauma or to erase the memory of a traumatic event from your consciousness. I don't believe that. And further, if she's promising people that she's going to remove their past trauma, this gets into a lot of sketchy areas because let's say, for an example, a rape victim came to her and they were having a really tough time because they were raped. That's a tremendously traumatic event. Is it okay that she's taking money from people, telling them that she's going to help them with their past trauma? I'm not sure. She's not. It's just, there's a lot of gray areas here. And this, my friends, is truly where a lot of these psychics operate, or healers, whatever you want to call her. They operate in these gray areas. Okay, Jean-Claude, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Let me get back to the live chat. I've learned a hard way to never doubt my intuition. Every time I have, it's been a horrible outcome, and I hate myself for just trusting my vibe antenna. I agree with you, Super V. If you really feel strongly, if you're having a real strong inclination of something, intuitively, you probably should listen. You probably should listen. Jean-Claude, what about remote viewers? Accessing remote data is beyond having a well-tuned intuition. The one psychic ability that I would say, least skeptical of, or was once least skeptical of, is remote viewing. Probably because there's been more scientific research done and papers written about remote viewing than any other psychic ability. And, I'm one to believe that all of that research, there's some compelling evidence that remote viewing may be possible, or maybe there is something to remote viewing. Maybe, just maybe. Cal Truth 77. I think our past makes us who we are today, good or bad, and we shouldn't erase anything. I agree with you 100%. And I was kind of shocked that she was so surprised. Like, really? You don't want me to erase your past, some memories that are really painful? Those memories are there, and I wouldn't take them away. In fact, some of you know that I had a pretty traumatic, life-threatening brain injury. It's what left me with a paralyzed eye. I had a brain aneurysm. It was right behind my eye. And one of the dangers of having the surgery to repair that, I had to have the surgery. It was either you're going to have brain surgery or you're going to die. So it's a pretty easy decision. Okay, we're going to have the brain surgery. But one of the risks in having that brain surgery is that there could be some damage to my memories. I could lose memories, and I was absolutely terrified going in there that I was going to forget anything. You know, parts of my childhood. For all I know, you could forget like really happy memories, right? Like your first kiss or your first, you know, like I did not want to lose any memories. And, you know, I was terrified of the brain surgery. And I got to say that after the brain surgery, I was foggy. I still may be foggy about details about things, but I believe I came out of that. And, you know, largely I kept all of my memories. Jasmine Emmerich, agreed, Truth Seekers. The thing about remote viewing is people can try it for themselves and see if there's something to it. Yeah. I would like to perform some remote viewing experiments if I could find a good remote viewer, but so far nobody has taken me up on. So far nobody has taken me up on, you know, trying some kind of experiments. Declan says a psychic teacher gave me a ring of his. I heard fun fair music. He told me after that he met his wife at the fun fair. Okay. Yeah. So. Oh, I lost my mouse. Maybe my hand is wet? Oh, there we go. It's back. All right. Geez, these technical issues, friends. Yeah, Review Funcat says, say what, Declan? Oh, and I just wanted to say that I have a very important announcement. Let me see here. Okay. Okay, here it is. Okay, we're going to share the screen. Let me get this. Okay. Oh, I almost put Super V Funcat in a timeout. Didn't mean to do that. If you are in a timeout, Super V, I apologize. It was not intentional. Okay. Let me get to the share screen. So here's an important announcement. Well, it's important to me. Okay, 1 second. Application. Okay, here we go. Your generosity makes all of this possible, and thank you. Today, I set up a way for people to donate to our show here. In lieu of the fact that we cannot accept super chat donations until we hit those requirements required by YouTube. You know, I wasn't considering a lot of things and stupidly decided it would be best if I just create a whole new YouTube channel for the new show. Because my old channel is kind of just a dump of all kinds of music and magic videos. Anything creative I did, I would dump onto my YouTube channel, my old show, The Midnight Hour, which was on the Fringe FM. And, you know, it was kind of a mess, the old channel, right? And you really, for best results, I've heard that you have to have a niche. You should just have a channel just for your show. So I started this new YouTube channel. I can't take super chat donations, but we're perfectly allowed to take PayPal donations. And so what happens here is that this is going to be like the not so super chat donations. And here's what's going to happen. I will put PayPal up on one of my screens here. I'm trying to do that now, actually, just in case somebody gives me $1 or whatever. Okay, so here's what's going to happen, friends. I am going to keep every show. I will keep the PayPal logged in and it's TruthSeekerShow. No S between the seeker and show, just TRUTHSEEKER show at gmail.com. And if you want, instead of a super chat donation, you can send me a PayPal donation. And then what's going to happen is that you want to add a note. So if for example, let's see, if you send me $1, there'll be a little box underneath the amount and it says add note. You want to click that add note and then you want to write whatever you want me to share. And I'm coming up with a way where I will be able to rapidly make a graphic. In other words, let's say, you know, just for an example, Super V Fun Cat, $1. So the graphic would say like the user from the chat, the $1, and, you know, whatever it is that they wrote. So if you wrote, hey, love your show, here's some help to support you. I will rapidly put that. I can't do it today, but I'm coming up with a way to do this. I will rapidly put that on the screen right after you make the donation, as long as I continue to monitor the PayPal donations coming in. If any will, remains to be seen, but there you go. There will be a way for people to do it. And also, if you go to the main channel, if you go to the Truth Seekers channel, just to my YouTube channel, there's a graphic at the top that says like Truth Seekers. And then in the upper right corner, there's a bunch of links. There's links to my Twitter, link to my Facebook. I don't know why, but I have a link to my Instagram, which I haven't used in a long time. I should get on the Instagram thing and start using that. And there is now also 2 additional buttons. One of them is for PayPal donations. So you could just go to the main channel and click that and you can make a donation, or you can manually, go to PayPal yourself and send whatever you're going to send to truthseekershow@gmail.com. And you add a note and it will be read live on air. And of course you will have my tremendous thanks as well. So from the main channel now, there's also a Patreon button. If you wanted to support me for as little as $1 a month, you get access to all kinds of backstage stuff. We're going to put the begging bowl down now, but that's my spiel about the begging bowl. And if you want to make a donation, and again, I don't have a 501c3 like some people, so I'm going to pay taxes on your donations. I'm going to pay income tax, I'm assuming, on these donations. They're not, I don't get to keep free. Super V Funkhead says, I'm going to make 10 separate dollar donations so a show is entirely me for 10 minutes. Yeah, you could do that. But for now, I can't make the graphics, so maybe you can wait till tomorrow's show or the next show. So for now, if anybody wants to make a donation tonight, again, it's truthseekershow@gmail.com, or go over to my main YouTube channel and you'll see that. Actually, here, I'll show you. Oh yeah, wait, I have it. I think I have it here. Yeah, I'm going to show you where that is. Wait, is it there? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, let me refresh. Maybe it's not there because I haven't refreshed. Yeah. Oh, it is there. So I spent today figuring out how to add these buttons, how to add these buttons to the YouTube channel so that make it as easy as possible for people to actually donate. So I'm going to just share this screen and I'll show you very quickly. So this is the main channel, and right here on the main channel, we could see Truth Seekers, and then here's a link to Facebook. Here's a link to Twitter, Instagram. Here is the PayPal, donate by PayPal. So now you can all send me your money. And this other button here is for donate on Patreon and become a Patreon supporter. I have had a few people that said, hey, can I just send you some money? Because I don't want to be tied in, Patreon, you have to, if you give the $1, it's every month until you cancel it. So this PayPal donation is one-time donations, but you can donate as much as you want or as little as you want. And this is a one-time donation. You're not tied in. You don't have to, it won't repeat the next month, but you do have the option to make a recurring donation if you want to. I thought that this would be helpful because a few people had mentioned that they would like to do something like that. Just give a one-time donation. And again, we're going to call them the not so super chat donations for now, right? Oh, and actually, you know what? It's probably best if I have to log into my Truth Seekers Gmail, because a notification if any donations come in during the show will be given to my email, and I'll be able to respond to that. And okay, so let's once again turn our attention to the live chat. We're going to wrap things up. Jean-Claude asked what software I'm using for the live stream. It's called StreamYard. It's so far I have no complaints, other than I'm really disappointed in that I bought really good high quality 1080p webcams, and then come to find out that because StreamYard is a cloud service, and I guess the bandwidth, they only actually allow you to use 720p as a maximum, But I will say this, I am a kind of a computer guy myself, but even I had tremendous problems with OBS. I was determined that I was going to get OBS working. I wasn't going to pay for the software. God bless anybody that is good with OBS and gets it to work well for them. Kel Truth, you're worth it, Stephen. Thank you. I have to say, Kel Truth became a Patreon supporter. Thank you very much, Kel Truth. I really, truly appreciate it. I don't like to complain, but this, excuse me, friends, this Rona thing, it just destroyed any income that I had. And it's been, I don't know, I was having a countdown timer. It's been like 87 days. And that's just since the quarantine started in my state. They've lessened it now, but it was weeks before the 87 days, my business, everything went to shit. And, I just decided to try to be positive and say, boy, I've always wanted to have more time to do shows, and now I do. I guess the downside to it is, financially, I'm pretty strapped right now. And, the longer this goes on, it feels like the worse that it gets. But I am continuing to just try to move forward, be positive, and use the time. I've got a lot of more time now. I'm trying to use the time as constructively as possible. And, boy, I got to say, I put a lot of time into starting this show and getting it to be the way that I envisioned, and it's come out pretty close. We have the interactivity that I wanted. I forgot about the live call-in line tonight. We're going to skip that. Jasmine Emmerich, yeah, my business is down too. Yeah, everybody's is, but mine is just gone because most of what I did was two things really, which was computer repairs and in-home service. In other words, if your laptop is broken, I would show up at your house and fix your laptop. Nobody wants me in their house. And the other thing that I would do for money and extra money is Uber, which I got to say, I Ubered in Philadelphia for a long time, and I really enjoyed it. You get to drive all these different places, and one day you could be in Chinatown, Philadelphia waterfront, Old City, Philadelphia, South Philly, all around the suburbs and cool places. It's just kind of like, it's hard work, but it's very fun because you meet interesting people. I did a lot of airport runs, so you get to, take people on vacation, pick people up from vacation. They're usually in a good mood and tip very well. But again, it's very dangerous to drive a vehicle, to be doing Uber or taxi cab or anything like that right now, because anybody could get in the back of your car and sneeze on you. Anybody. And I thought about putting plastic up, or, Uber doesn't allow that. My wife really believes it's too much risk for too little money, and would prefer that I just wait until there's a vaccine. But God knows, right? Like how long is it going to be until there's a vaccine? I don't know. Nobody knows. I've heard reports that somebody is now saying November. By November, there may be a vaccine available. But I have a feeling that even once the vaccine is approved, and it's going to take them a while to start manufacturing it. So maybe it will start to become available in November, but you're not getting it until January or February because the demand is going to be, imagine the demand, because everybody's going to want to get that vaccine and get on with their lives and get over this shit show that we've been dealing with for months now. This started for me in March, right? It's July, friends. I've had enough of this Ronaville shit, and so has everyone else. But again, I'm trying to stay positive, use the time very effectively. I've been working on my cabin, got a huge amount of work done there because I have all this free time. Might as well go there and accomplish something instead of sitting around feeling sorry for myself. Jean-Claude, Truth Seekers, what happened? The same happened to me with COVID. I just started the channel to connect with people. Yeah, and that's another thing. I'm not much of an extrovert. In other words, I don't really go out to bars and restaurants or hang out with a large group of people. but it's affecting everyone. Even introverts are affected because you don't go out, you don't have any interaction. Yeah, Super V Fun Cat, down a third here of all income. Sucks donkey balls. It really does. But here's what I will say. I want to thank everyone who donated on Patreon, and everyone who will be donating maybe to this new, you can make a PayPal donation, because here's the deal. Everything for this show was purchased not from my own dollars, if that makes sense. Everything for the show, the webcam, I've got the microphone here, right? The backdrop, the lighting, everything so far for the show has been covered by the Patreon money. Now, I was saving this Patreon pennies for a while to get some of this stuff, but it's really nice, and I sincerely appreciate it. You guys enabled me to do this. I wouldn't have been able to, especially during this pandemic where I'm broke as shit. I can't just go buy a $120 webcam and a $50 mic, and I don't know what the rest of this stuff costs, but it was all like I would get the $40 or $50 on Patreon, and then I would put it towards something I know that the show would need. And I started prepping for this before a few months, maybe 3 months before the show actually started. Keltruth says, I'm so lucky to not have lost my job. I feel bad for all the unemployment, etc. Yeah, it's really devastating to a lot of people. And I feel like Brad Gray, is the U.S. government helping people out with some form of welfare or something? There's a big no, Brad. Here's what we all got. Most of us got $1,200, okay, and nothing. So I have had little or no income for 87 days, maybe 100, and I've gotten $1,200 from the government, and that's it. $1,200 is not helping. I mean, it helped. Sure, it helped, because at least I had something for a little while, but that's run out, and now we are well gone of that $1,200. I was self-employed, so I don't even qualify as a self-employed sole proprietor of a business, and I don't qualify to get unemployment, and I also don't qualify for any of that free money for businesses, the PPE or whatever, or the I don't know, the Paycheck Preparedness or whatever, that program where they were giving out free money to businesses to keep their employees from being laid off. I don't qualify for that because I was a sole proprietor, and you have to have so many employees. I was my only employee, it was me. So I don't qualify for that. All I got was $1,200. It's terrible. It's been rough. Stephen, you say you're an introvert, but I must say your live broadcasting is really good. I'm glad you finally came out from behind the premieres. Yeah, Jasmine, here's the deal. I grew up listening to Art Bell, right? And he was one of my heroes. So my first thought was, I love talk radio. Loved it growing up. Loved talk radio, loved Art Bell. And I wanted to do a talk radio show. And I wanted to do it like Art Bell about these kind of strange subjects. So I never envisioned myself, never would have, if somebody had told me a few years ago that I would be doing a live stream video show, I wouldn't believe them. Never planned to do this, but I know that it's just more attractive. Like I sort of was way late in getting into podcasts and radio, and I love that art form. I think it's great, and I enjoyed being I always say this, I loved being just a voice in the wind, right? I was just a voice in the wind. And it made me feel more mysterious somehow with the show. Like you don't really see me, you don't see me on the radio. You just hear me. You get my voice, right? And partially because of this eye thing too, I have a paralyzed eye, which is sort of Quasimodo looking, Like if I didn't have the shades on and I looked right up here in the camera, right? There's a good possibility that my paralyzed eye would be looking that way and my one good eye would be looking at the camera, and it looks terrible on camera. Now, do I believe that most of you people are enlightened enough that you wouldn't think wrongly of me, or you wouldn't hold it against me for looking weird with a lazy eye. I think most people wouldn't say anything, but it just when that happens to you and you get this sort of physical deformity going, it makes you a lot more self-conscious. Even my wife noticed that like I got to wear sunglasses in pictures sometimes, or I want to, and she tells me not to. She'll just keep taking the picture until my eyes straighten out, and but it made me very self-conscious, and I did not want to be on video, not at all. But I remembered that when this first happened to me and my eye became paralyzed, first I had a patch for a long time because if I didn't have a patch, I had double vision, and that the patch enabled me to continue to function in life and work and do whatever, and I just didn't think about that paralyzed eye. And then eventually I figured out that I could just wear sunglasses, and once the double vision passed from this thing called third nerve palsy, when you have third nerve palsy for a while, you have a paralyzed eye, then it goes away, things kind of straighten out, and you no longer have the double vision, but your eye's still wonky, you look in the wrong way sometimes, and things get out of focus. Anyway, I came up with the glasses because that to me was less distracting to people than a patch. When you wear a patch, I know everybody's thinking, what's up with that guy's eye? Did he get stabbed in his eye? People stare at you like crazy when you have a patch. Most people, they may look at you a little funny when you walk into 7-Eleven at 3 o'clock in the morning with sunglasses on, but it's not as distracting. So there we are. I may go back to the patch though. Honestly, I may go back to the patch, and here's why. It's very difficult for me to read things sometimes with the glasses on, and I may go back to the patch. Truth Seekers, just realized I've watched you before. You interviewed Clip high on your past channel. We have lots in common. Yeah, good, John Clark. Good to see you here. I hope that you subscribe. I need subscribers, bro. Help a brother out. Hit that subscribe button. I work, but what I'm told here in Oz Welfare Check is that good people are not going back to their jobs. Yeah. You look great, man. The glasses are great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Jasmine Emmerich, I thought the sunglasses were just part of your on-screen persona. If only that were true. I wish. But you know what's funny is that when I first had that issue, I was doing a lot of magic shows when I had that brain aneurysm, and then it took me a long time to recover from that brain aneurysm and go back to work. And at the time I was doing a lot of magic shows, and I had to come up with something. So I came up with the sunglasses so that I wouldn't feel self-conscious on a stage or in front of people. And it worked out really well. And after a while, it became sort of a trademark for me that I was always in sunglasses. Oh, that guy with the dark glasses, right? And then, I made it fun. I have a whole ton of different big ones, little ones, yellow ones, the glass type that are like amber. I have dark ones. I have red lensed ones, and the patch would be cool. Yes, Pix, I may go back to the patch. I tried it, and I said to myself, I'm going to try to do a quick test stream with this patch. And my sole purpose with doing that was to see, can I read easier with the patch versus the glasses? And the answer was a resounding yes. I can read so much better with the patch as opposed to the glasses. I don't know how I feel about being the guy with the patch doing a show on mysterious subjects, though. I think people might think that's fake, or I don't know. Done. Thank you. I went up by 1 subscriber, man. I think I only need like 750 more to take super chat donations. Yeah, Brad Gray, you could be a pirate. Yeah. Arr. Have you tried orange driving glasses? You can't tell, but these are those. These are, they used to be called amber vision glasses or HD glasses, people call them. That's what this particular pair is that I'm wearing tonight. And Brad Gray says he wears those while riding a motorbike. True. Okay. And Paranormal Jiggy. My right eye was pressed looking at the other eye and when I had my aneurysm, but it was fine after surgery. Doc was amazed. Yeah, Paranormal Jiggy also had a brain aneurysm, and that's how they tell that something neurological is going on. If your one eye starts to go wonky, that's how my doctor knew that I was having an aneurysm. And it was weird in my case. I went to like around the corner. I was in the city, And my doctor had an office like right around the corner from my house. I went to him and he was like, "Don't be alarmed, but you got to get in my car right now. I'm taking you to the hospital." And first of all, a doctor just going, "Get in my car," is a little weird, but you know, we didn't know what was going on. My eye just went wonky, and then I go to the doctor and he's like, you're having some kind of neurological condition. You got to get in my car. We'll take you to the hospital. And then the fun began. 755 more. Thanks, Jasmine. We will get you there. Yes, we will. I'm going to have a subscription drive soon, and we'll see what happens with that. And, you know, I think it's just a good idea to do something. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, can I do some kind of publicity stunts, or what are we going to do to get up? We need a lot more subs to get there. Oh, I'm sorry. Jasmine Emmerich again, 755 more. Yep. I think we're at 245. Peace out, folks. Stay chilly. Yes, friends. So, it has been a long day. I want to thank each and every one of you, really, for joining us tonight. You know, I had a good time. I hope you did too. One second. Let me get back to the comments here. Okay, John, we'll have the final comment of the night. We'll go to John. I'm sure we could find a topic for you to come on my show. Could send some viewers your way. Poke with the blue chickens, maybe. Yeah, sure. Send me an email. I'd be down to do that. I just signed myself out and went home when they told me I had an aneurysm. Went back 2 days later and it burst when I was there. Oh, Jiggy, that's terrible. Mine was unruptured, but it was pushing against the nerves in my eye and about to rupture. So they went in and did the coiling. Yeah. Brain aneurysm is no joke. You know, they're like all of a sudden told, you need emergency brain surgery and you might need several of them. It's like, oh no. You know, but listen, I'm walking around and I'm breathing. So having to deal with this paralyzed eye, I did so many things after I had my sort of life-threatening illness. I got married to my wife and, you know, love of my life. I had 2 beautiful children, and all those things might not have happened if that thing would have just popped, and it could have, you know. So life is good, and you move on, and you know, be thankful for the time that you're given. It sure made me feel thankful for every day. Every day is a gift, friends. And on that note, I will leave you for the night. I always say this. Tomorrow night, there should be another show. Let's say should be, for tentatively, but there may not be. It depends on what I get done tomorrow. I have a lot of other things to do. Yard work, right? And cutting grass and all of this stuff, and I'm going to have my children. But we'll try to get another show together for tomorrow night. I have a huge folder full of topics that are researched and ready to roll out. So, friends, thanks each and every one of you for joining us. I truly appreciate you being here for this journey. Life is a journey, friends. Make it a good one. Good night.